So, maybe you're thinking about getting a Leica M, or you are just wondering why people love to shoot these. Well, I'll explain why I think that people should get a Leica M body or shouldn't. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk It Over. First, let's explain a little bit about what Leica M cameras are. Because you might have heard they are rangefinders, which means that they are quite different from the SLR that a lot of people are used to. The biggest difference is that with a rangefinder you are not looking through the lens, but through a viewfinder at the top left of the camera. There are a lot of benefits from that, but there are also things that people possibly will hate about it. It's a very bright viewfinder, not affected by the maximum aperture of your lens. This also means that everything that you see through the viewfinder is sharp. The downside is that you're not exactly seeing what you're gonna get. But there are frame lines inside of the viewfinder that show you what's in frame. But with a SLR, what you see is what you're gonna get, edge to edge. That's also for the depth of field. With an SLR, it's possible to see what the depth of field will look like when you're shooting wide open. And that's just not possible with a rangefinder. And you might wonder, how can I focus if I am not seeing what's in focus or not? Well, there's a rangefinder patch in the center of the viewfinder. Here you see two images overlapping each other. You just gotta make sure that they are exactly aligned and then you're in focus. This is not as critical as with an SLR in my opinion, but I've never had any issues with it. Even with the aperture wide open on a close subject, I can focus on the eye, for instance. Most of the time, and this is where the rangefinder just shines, is to shoot it close down like f8 or f11. This means that on a 35mm lens, there's a lot of depth in sharpness, depth of field. A lot of things are sharp. Then I don't have to think about critical focusing and I am able to shoot very quickly. A lot of documentary and street photographers swear by this because of these reasons. Another benefit from the viewfinder is that you will see outside of the frame lines. So if something is entering the frame, you'll know it. I came from only shooting SLRs and I thought that it would be difficult to get used to. But after shooting one roll, I already was used to it and I didn't want to go back at all. Except for some instances where I like to shoot medium format. Let's say a portrait session or landscapes. Then I'll pick up my RB67. But if you would like to shoot medium format and still have the benefits of a rangefinder, you could check out something like the Mamiya 7, but that's a whole different price point too. A benefit from a rangefinder is also that it's most of the time a lot smaller than a SLR. There's no mirror and the lenses are smaller too. So if you want to be quick and stealthy, this is the way to go. Without a mirror slapping through your camera, you're also able to shoot at way lower shutter speeds. This is nice if you are shooting a lot of low light situations and you can bring a tripod. And I can honestly say that I'm pretty comfortable with shooting at 1/30th handheld. It depends a bit how much the subject is moving. The M bodies also have a great and fast way of loading your film. You just take off the bottom plate, put in your film, close it back up, fire off 2 frames and you're ready to go. I find that the SLRs that I've shot are a bit slower. This might depend on which SLR you're shooting and of course how quick you are. By the way, all these things are my opinion and I'm not saying that you can't be quick with an SLR or do all the previous things. Just make your own decisions about it. The thing that I don't like about the M body is that it has a low flash sync speed. It's at 1/45th and I would rather have it at 1/125th or even faster. That's something that I learned to live with. But it's going to be a problem when I want to shoot flash in broad daylight, for instance. Or if I want to freeze the moving subject a little bit more than is possible with 1/45th. Sometimes I really do enjoy the movement that is in the shot though. And when shooting this camera in the studio with a subject that's not moving too much, it's no problem at all. But keep that in mind. Most SLRs have a sync speed of 1/125th or even faster. Another downside of the M body is that the fastest shutter speed is 1/1000. I almost never have to use a speed as fast as that. But sometimes if I have a roll of HP5 loaded and I am pushing it 2 stops to 1600, shooting in bright daylight gets very tight. I can get away with f16 and 1000 or 500 most of the time, because HP5 can handle the overexposure. A lot of SLRs can go higher than 1000, so check that out if that's a problem for you or not. When you're only shooting 400 speed ISO films or slower, I don't think that you're gonna have a problem with it. Unless you wanna shoot wide open all the time, but then I think that a rangefinder is really not the best option for you. Before we continue, a quick word from the sponsor of this episode. Well, not really, but I've got your attention now, so here's a shameless plug for my print shop. I really want to thank everyone who already purchased a print. This is really supporting the channel and my journey on this platform. And if you would like a print on your wall, go check it out. Link is in the description and it's free shipping worldwide. Also, thank you for everyone who purchased the "Don't put this in your X-ray scanner, please hand check" sheet, which is on sale right now just for a couple of bucks. Back to the episode. You might be thinking, Tips, those cameras are expensive. I could get a cheap SLR and a year worth of film and development for the same price. And you might be right, but in my opinion, I would rather invest in a camera that's better suited for my work than working with a camera that is limiting me in the possibilities, or using a camera that is not sparking the interest to shoot it. But that's such a personal thing, and you have to consider the pros and the cons for yourself and see if it's worth the investment. You could also check out some less expensive rangefinder systems like the Canon P. I have never used it myself, but I've heard some good things about it. If you have another recommendation, please let it be known in the comments down below. But if you are on a budget and you are able to shoot a lot more with an SLR, I think that's the better option, because you can own a beautiful camera, but you're not able to afford the film to shoot the camera. It's not worth it. Never. So, to round it up, are you shooting fast-paced things like documentary, day-to-day moments, or street photography? Then I think that a rangefinder like the Leica M is a great option for you. I shoot everything with it, so it's all possible. But if you really doubt the limitations of not shooting through the lens or not seeing through the lens, or the 1000 shutter speed, then you might want to check out some other options. Like I always say, rent one, or if you have a friend that owns one, try it out for a while. Shoot some different things with it, see if it fits your style of shooting, and then make up your mind. Because investing so much money into a camera that's possibly 20 years or older, and then finding out that it's not your type of camera, is painful. Even though you might be able to sell it back for the same price, it's a hassle and it could also be disappointing. And you should also do some research in the M body that you're interested in, because they are quite different. The M3, for instance, is an amazing camera and really sets the tone for quality, but it doesn't have a light meter, and some have a double stroke. Or if you're looking at a M6, then you have the option of the classic or the TTL version, which means that you have TTL metering with flash. You also need to know which lenses you might be using, because you gotta make sure that the body has the right frame lines for it and the right viewfinder magnification. Keep those things in mind. I hope that I've made some things clear for people who are in the market for an M body. And if you have any more questions about rangefinders or which camera would fit you, put them in the comments and I would be happy to help out where I can. But for now, thanks for watching, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week. Peace!